Okay, thank you. Call the meeting to order. Mrs. Fagan, if you could do the prayer and the roll call, please.
Certainly. Lord, as we begin this session, let us acknowledge your goodness and mercy and ask your blessings on all our deliberations. We thank you for this opportunity to be of service to our community and to the young people entrusted to our care. On a roll call, Ms. Doherty,
Yes.
Mr. Pulowski,
Present.
Mr. Fiore,
Present.
Mrs. Fagan's present, Mr. Martin,
Present.
Mrs. Almeida,
Present.
Mr. DeMello,
Present.
Mr. Souza,
Present.
and Mayor O'Connell.
Present. This is a special meeting of the school committee to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the superintendent's protocols for transitioning between remote, hybrid, and full in-person learning models due to the COVID-19 pandemic pursuant to exemption 3, and not to return to open session. Do we have a motion?
Motion to go into executive session.
Is there a
Second.
second? Motion and second on discussion, Mrs. Doherty and then Mr. Fiore.
Yes, if you would, Mayor, after the vote is taken, to explain to the viewing public why we do not have public input on the agenda. It is a good reason why we don't, but I think that for those who might have expected without knowing why we don't have public input.
I can tell you that. Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman, I made the agenda up with the superintendent, and this is the only item on the agenda is the executive session. The public input, regular public inputs at a regular meeting, and this is a special meeting of the school committee. So pursuant to our policy of public input at our meetings, the regular meetings have public input, and the special meetings can have public input if the committee votes on that, but it's not part of the agenda according to our policy, and that's the standard I've been using. So
Madam Mayor.
that's the standard I've been using.
Thank you, Mr. Kuzma.
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Doherty.
If I might, as I understand it, from my perspective, we're not having public input because we must deal with matters relating to collective bargaining in executive session, and that really.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, Carol. I thought I was giving you the technical term, but in layman's terms, our legal counsel has directed us to go right into executive session because we have legal issues to deal with in there. I understand now, Carol. Thank you.
Thank you,
Point of
Mr. Souza.
information,
Mrs. Almeida?
after we come out of executive session, Madam Mayor, we need to come back to the table to adjourn the meeting. We can't adjourn it in executive session. We have to come out of executive session to adjourn our meeting.
Attorney Gay, is that correct? The usual procedure?
It is, yes.
It is, okay.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Almeida.
You're welcome.
It does say on the agenda not to return to open session, but I understand.
I think that's a type. I think that's a clerical error.
Sure, no problem. Mr. Fiore?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I need to put on record that my wife is a member of the bargaining unit, and I've not been able to have anything to do with the contract. But on the other hand, this involves the policy decision of whether or not the schools are to be open. And I think I have to participate in that, even though I can't participate as to matters of collective bargaining.
Wendy, could you make that a note, please? Thank you.
Did you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Fiore. So we have a motion on the floor and a second to go into executive session on a roll call vote.
Doherty,
Yes.
Mr. Pulowski,
Yes.
Mr. Fiore,
Yes.
Fagan votes yes. Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. Almeida,
Yes.
Mr. DeMello,
Yes.
and Mr. Souza.
Yes.